there, future lactation consultant. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video today. As a part of ProPEP and demystifying the process of entering the lactation profession, Nikki and I will be sharing our individual journeys so that you understand the pathway that we took to get here and perhaps can identify some ways that you too can take some pieces of our journey to create your own path to the credential. So I came into this profession somewhat incidentally. After I had my first baby, she had some challenges breastfeeding, and within the first day or two, I knew I needed help. So I reached out to the lactation consultant who had taught our prenatal breastfeeding course at the hospital, and she invited me to a clinic that she hosted at the hospital on Saturday mornings. I had no idea what I was getting into, but you better believe I was one of the first people there in line at the clinic. When I got there was about 5 other moms, and we were at stations, and each station had like a scale and a nice little setup so that we could get our baby comfortably, and there's pillows so we could try to nurse. And the lactation consultant went around to each of our stations and watched us nurse and talked to us individually about what we had been experiencing. What were the challenges? What was baby doing? Weighing baby before and after the feed to see the difference in what she was taking in versus what we expected her to take in. The lactation consultant looked at latch, looked at anatomical issues baby might have had, looked at me to see if I was in a good place emotionally. She really was extremely thorough. And I believe each one of us walked out of there that day set to breastfeed effectively and efficiently for as long as we wanted that journey to last. And I walked out of there that day with a new mission. I said, this is going to be my life's work. I just know it. I want to know why, 1, I've never seen another woman breastfeed in my community, and 2, I want to know how I can be a resource to other women in my community and other families like this woman was for me. How can I make it easy? How can I make it make sense and doable for other families who are struggling and don't know what's what when it comes to breastfeeding? So I started doing my research, started digging, found out there were some volunteer organizations that I could become a part of to start to one, be among other families that were breastfeeding, but also to start to learn how to help other families. La Leche League was the organization that was local to me. They had a meeting weekly that I was able to attend and start to really hone my skills in identifying issues with babies and moms and families and learning how to support them. I applied to become a La Leche League leader. It took about 1.5 years. Now that's an extremely and unusually long time to become a La Leche League leader. The process really should be 6 to 9 months. But in the group that I was with, we were doing it as a cohort and we were moving at different paces, and we, however, got a really thorough training, and I was able to, at the end of that training, be fully competent to support families as a volunteer peer supporter. Another thing I did along the way to being accredited for La Leche League was I got my CLC credential, which is Certified Lactation Counselor. Now that's a week-long course by Healthy Children, and we'll drop some links below so you can see how to reach some of these organizations and see what's near you. But I got my CLC credential. I drove, at that time I was living in California, I drove to Las Vegas because that was the nearest one, and spent a week there in this course, and it was 8 to 5 probably for 5 days, and on the last day we took an exam and to get certified in that credential. And so I was a CLC first, and then I finished my La Leche League leader training, and then I was all set to start free support groups around my town and really start to offer a level of care that was appropriate and adequate for anything that could happen in the normal course of breastfeeding management. I did that for some years and worked to really hone my skills in different cities. So I did that on the East Coast and the West Coast. And then I realized, you know what, I want to go further. I really want to be IBCLC, like the lactation consultant who helped me at the hospital. How do I do that? You and I both know there was no clean-cut answer to that question. And so what I ended up doing when I realized there were so many health courses needed to even be able to qualify to sit for the board exam, as I started looking into school programs to get me back in a program for a master's. My bachelor's had been in marketing and international business, so I had almost none of the health courses that were needed. So I went through a program to get my master's in public health. Again, one of the best decisions I've ever made in life. Public health degree was perfect for me because it helped me to really understand the science and the research behind helping entire communities get healthier. And this was something I was extremely passionate about. So, by the time I finished my master's of public health degree, mind you, I had 3 kids through this process, so we're talking 8 years for the whole process. The whole process of becoming, first having my first baby and then finally certifying as an IBCLC. But once I got my master's of public health, I had then completed enough lactation training, enough clinical hours through my volunteer support, and then I was ready to go ahead and sit the board. There's a couple of other components. There's some courses that are both university level and then some that are not. And then there's lactation training that you have to get, and then clinical hours. So those 4 buckets, I was able to finish all of them and then go ahead and sit the board exam in 2015. Obviously, I got a passing grade on my exam and have been practicing as an IBCLC since that time. And then we can, at some point, we'll also talk to you about ways, once you get the credential, that you can be a unique and powerful force in a niche that you want to fill. My particular niche has been with military families and persons of color. I help communities where we are located, but mostly focusing on those folks that look like me, that are brown and black and are in underserved communities, whether it be LGBTQA or military families or other families who have needs that are really unique in situations that require a very unique and focused and gentle and culturally appropriate approach to their care. So that's my journey. I hope this has been helpful, inspirational, and enlightening for someone. I'll see you again real soon. Check out the links, subscribe, follow, tell a friend. They too can be a lactation consultant. Nikki and Nikki Pro Prep. We'll see you next time.